Right, everybody, I'm back with the Moonraker Bond review with spoilers and that. Yeah, great film, great film. It's a three shagger and all, because usually Bond, at least, I think every Bond film is at least a two shagger, but you get three shaggers where he shags three bears and that in one film. He's like, yeah. But yeah, some great looking action scenes and all. Like, not as much, but there's some class action scenes and that. Some good stunt work and that. Not great stunts though, because I think they like thought, yeah, we'll calm it down a bit. I think maybe because it was done in 1979, so I think they started getting a bit arsey with doing crazy stunts. So you had to like calm it down a bit, I think. But yeah, great film though. Great film. That's good. The cast up and that. Yeah, yeah, bit of a squeaky chair. Um, yeah, there we go. Moonraker. Yeah, Roger Moore as James Bond. Louise Chiles as Dr. Holly Goodhead. Yeah, this is where the. Because Captain Mike, he's Spock, don't really like Moonraker because it did go crazy. It started going more like a spoof comedy sort of thing, isn't that? And then Richard Kell as Jaws, Connie Clay as Connie Doofer. It's Jaws' girlfriend, and then Michael Longsdale as Hugo Drax plays a great character in that. Does like a right good sort of uh, Bond villain, egomaniac who wants to be like a god. Does it real well. And then yeah, Blank Rev- Revalik as Dolly. Like yeah, be loads of like women's names in this, like and Elamy Bolton as Manuela. Uh, yeah, because there's like loads of Bond girls in this film. And then, yeah, Desmond Llewellyn as Q, Lois Maxwell as Miss Moneypenny, and Bernard Lee as N, and Ikra Boschko as Blonde Beauty. uh, Claude Chazes as Gondola. Lizzie Warville as a Russian girl. Walter Gottel as General Gogol. Alfie Bass as a con something somewhat. Brian Keith as the US shuttle sort of pilot. Lily Schreiner as uh, hostess and that, like yeah, some of these like didn't really have much big parts, so they didn't really get much of a name. But Gene Perry, Casterly as pilot private jet. So I mean, yeah, let's see. Dennis Stewart and Toshi Sugar as Chan. He plays like a villain in that. Mike Marshall as Cole Scott, Jeffrey Keane as Frederick. Um, oh, what did it say? No, it's Frederick something, isn't it? But yeah, he's the British oh, Minister of Defence. Yeah, because I usually see him in a few Bond films where he's giving Bond the intel and that. He's sort of M's boss. Yeah, Douglas Lambert, George Belair, Kim Thorpe Jones, George Annie Lombard, Essie Jean, Lewis, Al Howard, Chris, Kathleen Zit, Gadi Rio, Chukwanoa Caparia, Francisco Gaya, Christina Hoy, Beatrice Libert. Yeah, it's the thing with Bond. They have like all these European supermodels and that, so they have like crazy names. Nika Van Diesel, Patrick Florsham, George Lane Cooper, Gillis Courier, Bob Sherman. Yeah, pretty much the cast. Hey, Parrot, hey, yeah, Parrot man, yeah. It's about Moonraker. Great film, though, great film. See, it's a three shagger. Because, yeah, he's quite a bit shagging in this. I think Roger Moore was like, oh, yeah, I've done like, um, he'd done three films, like Live and Let Die, Man with the Golden Gun, and Spy Who Shagged Me. They're all like actiony in that. And this is pretty actiony because it's a Bond film and that. But he's probably like, right, can I have more sex scenes than more fight scenes? I've done like loads of fight scenes and that. Probably why his contract was like, oh yeah, Roger Moore wants a three shagger fucking Bond film. But yeah, yeah. Parrothead says Moonraker was good, but Live and Let Die is better though. Yeah, all right. Live and Let Die is my favourite. It was Roger Moore's first Bond film and that, so he knew he had to like do it good and that because and they have to get some good stunts and all that shit in because it was a new Bond, and so they had to do some crazy stuff. get the Bond thing up. Yeah. The quality was a bit shit, but of the screenshot I got for the Bond poster, but yeah, I'm in a bit of a rush. But yeah, there's Bond with Jaws and Dr. Goodhead. Oh, sorry. And yeah, Bond, Dr. Goodhead, Jaws, Drax, and just these bears. Like there was another poster of Moonraker where it's just Bond with all these bears around him and that, and it's like, well, that didn't happen in the film. And Drax over here. Uh, Parrot Head says Octopussy was the first Bond film he ever saw. Yeah, yeah, I'll be because next week it'll be for your eyes only. Because like on last week's film, Spy Who Loved Me, they put Bond will return in for your eyes only, but he didn't. He returned in Moonraker. But so at the end of Moonraker, it says, "Oh yeah, Bond will return in for your eyes only," which he does. And then I think it's Octopussy after for your eyes only. Yeah, yeah, great film though. All about fucking Drax, who's like wanting to fucking destroy the human population and then repopulate it with a group of look like models. We're all good looking in that. So yeah, it's where he gets like this orchid where when you see the film for the first time, I saw it. I didn't even fucking know really what the fuck was going on apart from Bond in space kicking ass. But yeah, but watched it a few times and that, and like yeah, you realise that the orchid plant that they get is made to kill just human um, people and that, but not kill animals or um, plant life. So yeah, it's like one of them things where if you don't realise the orchid plant is going to kill like and they do uh, show you in the film like oh yeah it don't kill animals because there's a bit where it shows you in that like the animals don't get killed but yeah if you're not paying attention in that you think thinking oh what's with the orchid thing and that and have but great stunts though because not real great but some good stunts oh skydiving the stunts where Duke does some like skydiving fights in that where now too fucking spectacular for a Bond film because like it's been done before and that. Quite, but still great action in that. But you see where it's hard because Richard Kell was fucking 7 foot odd or whatever in that. And so the stunt dude, he's like small compared to, and so yeah, it does look a bit like where you they should have got a really small dude to play Bond, but they didn't. They just got like two normal stunt dudes to do it in that. So yeah, it's a bit where you can tell, oh yeah, that's not Jaws, but it's one of them where they didn't give a fuck. It was like, right, yeah, well, when people watch it in that, fucking for the first time, especially because it was done in 1979, like they ain't gonna really realize, like, oh yeah, no, that's not Richard Kell and that, because like they do it from a lot of behind shots, but there is one shot where you can clearly tell it's not Richard Kell and that, but they don't give a fuck because it's like, yeah, well, fuck it, we'll just pretend it is and that. Yeah, there's another little corny bit and all where they get Richard Kell to jump across and like, yeah, this quite big jump that he has to make, and yeah, he didn't even take a run up. They should have said, oh yeah, you take a run up, boy. He did from a jumping start, and there's no way he'd made the jump. Even with a run up, it would have been like he'd have just only just made it. So from a standing start. Yeah, but it says in Triple X when Diesel's stunt double is obviously smaller. Yeah, yeah. In like that in the A team and all, there was a few times where you could clearly tell, oh yeah, that's not any of the cast and that. I think they even had to black up a white dude to do one stunt and put a more weakening on him. But yeah, it it's that sort of fucking area of like trying to get like stuntmen to do stunts was hard enough. Never mind to get them a certain height and build and that. So yeah, sometimes it's just like, right, fuck it, you just do it, and we'll just fucking film it like best we can to make it look like it's whoever the actor or actress they're trying to portray. But yeah, some great laser effects though for its day. One of them sort of movies where they were like, right, we're gonna have like laser beam effects, so yeah, we're gonna have to pay a lot. So fuck, fuck some of the stunts if they don't look right. Fuck it. But yeah, Nelson the Gentleman. Uh, is a the busty blonde chick that Jaws fancied at the end had braces. I don't care what anyone says. That was the whole point of the joke because they both smiled and then sun glistened off their teeth. Yeah, yeah, yeah. There was that sort of like fucking comedy element, as I say to this film and that way, yeah, because Oh, I forget what love melody it was that was playing, but it was from like an old 50s film and that. It was like this fucker where like yeah, they saw each other and that, yeah. But okay. It was just like having a laugh I think in that at this stage. It was like, all right, I think there's like kids are watching and that, so we'll give them a bit of comedy for the kids. So like, even if the kids can't understand really what's going on, at least they can have like fun because like yeah, there's some fucking right funny because Jaws, I think he fucking should have been killed about 3 or 4 times in this film, but he just like survives it. And like, there's 1 or 2 times where it's like, no, no, even Richie Kell would have probably been dead. Especially the one where they're on the cable cars. It's like, no, no, it, if he wouldn't have been dead, he definitely wouldn't have been able to have got up and like, as Nelson the gentleman was saying, fucking sees this blonde bird who smiles and that with braces and they fall in love and that. Yeah. Moonraker is like so comical and that it it does go crazy where Captain Mighty Marty Spock fucking said he got turned off because there's a bit where Bond's on this bit of a spoiler. Bond's on this gondolier boat that they have in Venice, and it has a like motor in it, and he's got um, a hovercraft bedding system built in and all. And so it goes on land and that, and there's a bit where they do a bit of rewind on it and that, but this pigeon sort of like looks and then takes another look, and it's so fucking and like there's dogs looking and that shit, and fucking everyone's like looking in like a waiter sort of pause, fucking a drink over some dude because he's too busy looking at this hovercraft gondolier. Yeah. But they did go really sort of spoofed out crazy on this. And this is where sort of like the Bond films went a bit more sort of like comical. Although it stopped when Timothy Dalton got in, because that's when I think it was like, right, we've had so much jokes in it, we need to get a bit more serious. So they went quite serious with the Timothy Dalton, the T Dog, or the T Doll. Oh, yeah. Boris says Blanche Ravalas was a blonde. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think that's what we're supposed to say blonde. But yeah. 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 Well, there is quite a few blonde Bond girls in this. Fucking hell. But they have like a thing in the 80s, I think, with Bond films where there was just going after like Swedish models. But yeah, let's get on to the spoilers. Or mm, they put the spoiler thing up. Yes, how bad pixelated that is, but yeah. Oh, yeah, she was the girl Jaws fell for. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. She was Bond and that. Yeah, I think she was Swedish because she had them in like pigtails and that sort of thing. And I think she was probably one of them birds who was like better looking than she portrayed herself in. Well, she had a right thick body anyway. Like yeah, I think she was like having to like play like she was a bit sort of dumb in there. Because she did look a bit sort of dumb in it. So yeah, the Bond film obviously starts off with the gun barrel um, sort of scene where fucking it's Roger Moore and that not wearing a hat does the old shoot down the gun barrel, or probably not down the gun barrel, probably just above the gun barrel because blood pours down the gun barrel, so he's definitely shot above the gun barrel. By the way, it, as it were, like um, a Boeing or a jumbo jet um, aeroplane is carrying a space shuttle, like they call them like MOONRAKER space shuttles, where just your normal space shuttle, like you see that goes up into space and then comes back re-entry sort of thing. And they're like transporting it and that, and then you see like these two dudes who climb out of the space shuttle's fucking compartments and get into the cockpit and that, start the engine up and just blast off, destroying the fucking um, Boeing aircraft or whatever it is. And then you see he's like to Miss Moneypenny, "Where's Bond?" And like, oh, he's on a mission. And you see him kissing a bird in a private jet aeroplane. And then she pulls a gun on him. Then the pilot comes out, shoots the control panel and that, and then was gonna like leave, jump out in a with a parachute on, but Bond kicks the gun out of his hand, and then they have a fight in that shit where he fucking chucks him out of the like jet and that because his controls panel's been shot up and that, and then you see Jaws push Bond out of the aeroplane and that, and then fucking out of parachute, but Bond. This is where like the skydiving fucking stuntmen are like all fucking doing their sort of shit where they were like a fight in midair for the parachute and that, which Bond gets because there's a bit where he just boots the dude's head, which is fucking good sort of stunt and that. Nelson Jem says, "Parrot, do you remember her having braces too?" Well, anyway, as he gets like the parachute off it, the dude, and kicks him away, then Jaws sort of like comes after him and and like grabs sort of like Bond's sort of leg and that was gonna bite him, but Bond pulls the ripcord and flies up, and then when Jaws goes to pull the ripcord, he just rips it off and that, and he ain't got time to use the reserve chute and that. So, or if he has, he's he's not bothering because fucking he ripped that and all. So he just like skydives into a circus tent where there's gonna be like a net for the tightrope and acrobats and that. So yeah, he survives and that. But you see the um, silhouette sort of fly into a net that starts off the Bond theme and that. And not much naked tit silhouetting, but one or two bits, but not that much. But there's a bit where there's one of them just flying in the sky like Superman. And I think it was like, oh yeah, we'll incorporate Superman in there. So, well, more Supergirl, but yeah. So there was going on the Star Wars Superman sort of fucking craze and that. But yeah, so Bond enters and that. Talks to Miss Moneypenny, tells him he got chucked out of a plane and that. And then goes into M's office and that, where the dude who's the defense minister or minister of defense is there with Q and M. And then they're like talking about the plane wreckage and saying that they've searched it all, but they couldn't find the Moonraker shuttle wreckage. So they know like the Moonraker shuttle's missing and that. Like Bond, because the shuttle belongs to Drax, he has to go tell him. But before he goes off, Q gives Bond this like it's like a bracelet because he puts it on his right arm, but he's got like a dart gun that he can fire if he like flicks his wrist. It goes on muscle tension. Oh, yeah, man. Yeah. And Nelson, the gentleman says, I like Dr. Goodhead. I hear she gives great personality. She gives great personality. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, anyway, so Bond gets this bracelet thing with a dart gun and that, and he's got told like he's got to go to Drax Industries, that's in LA, California, and that to tell him that oh yeah, your shuttle got stolen and that sort of thing. Even though he's got like loads of women in that, so I think he was just lending one out. So like it was his, but like he wasn't needing it or out, so he lent it out. But Bond still got to go tell Drax, oh yeah, you're missing because like yeah, you won't be get it's gone missing and that. So he goes and that talks to Drax, who's played by what's his name? Does a real good part. Michael Longsdale. Yeah. And sees Drax, he's playing the piano and that shit. And Bond's like talking to him and that fucking just basically tells him, oh yeah, and so like yeah, he's like, oh, okay, sort of thing. Like oh, just wait for like your investigations or whatever and that. And then the pilot bed like shows him to the research lab sort of center where he sees Dr. Goodhead because she's on loan from NASA doing um, whatever space research because she's a qualified pilot and all because she's able to be in space and that. So she's trained in astronauts and that's so she's an astronaut. Well, anyway, before like Bond goes and that, you see well as Bond leaves and that, you then see Drax tell his henchmen like, oh yeah, get rid of Bond and that because he knows like, oh yeah, he's James Bond. And they go into one of them G-force testing centers where it's a big like pod thing on an arm, like a fairground ride that spins around real fast to get the astronauts used to the G-force. Well, anyway, Bond's like, all right then, I'll have a go. Because Dr. Goodhead says, oh yeah, have a go. There's a button there if you get where you're going to pass out, because 7Gs is where you pass out. Just press the button and that. Well, anyway, Drax's henchman fucks around with the control panels and that. That makes the safety switch unactive. So he puts Bond up to like 13 Gs before like Bond's nearly passing out. So he shoots like a dart thing with his gun that's on his little wristband sort of bracelet, and it's the control panels that like fucking stops the machine. And then he goes to talk to well later on that night because he's staying in Drax's residence sort of thing. He goes talks to the woman who's like showing Bond around and that, and he sort of like fucking asking her, you know, trying to pump her for info. Where she didn't know much because she's probably one of them naive like recruits that like don't know that Drax is a fucking super Bond villain, and so she thinks he's just like a space like enthusiast. Well, anyway, Bond gets to like shag and that because he's all like, all right, well, we'll just fucking like have a shag then. Well, anyway, when there is she goes to sleep, then he gets out and then goes into Drax's study, and then she like realizes Bond's out, and then she like sees him in the study, and she's like, "Oh, what you doing in Drax's study?" And he's like, "Oh, I'm looking for a safe." And then she like looks where the safe is, and like, "Oh, thanks," and that, and then he finds the safe, uses like this cigarette case that's fucking got an X-ray machine, so he can see all the cogs and that to this safe, so he can safe crack it, and then takes some pictures of this diagram of like a globe thing that like don't really know what it is at this stage. Well, anyway, she's all like, "Oh no, you shouldn't be doing this." Well, anyway, Bob's like, "Oh well, thank you. You've got a heart of gold," and that because he uses the X-ray machine. Well, anyway, she leaves and that, but Drax's henchman sees her leave, and then Bond leaves and that, and he sees Bond leaving. So yeah, he knows like, oh yeah, there's something going on there. But anyway, the next day there's a pheasant shoot out and that where people are shooting pheasants and that, and Bond like drives up to say, oh yeah, he's leaving and that. Thanks for like letting him stay the night and that. And as like he turns up in like chauffeured car, and this dude with Drax tells him to like go up into a tree to snipe Bond. Anyway, Bond goes into the middle of the field to talk to Drax and that, and then Drax gives him a shotgun to like shoot at a pheasant, but like Bond shoots near the pheasant but misses, but shoots the dude out of the tree and that, and then he's all like, "Oh yeah," because Drax says, "Oh, you missed." And he goes, "Oh, did I?" And then like he leaves in the chauffeured car, and then you see the secretary woman who like was showing Bond around. She talking to and Drax is like, "Oh yeah, you showed Bond where my safe was and that, and you was like spying in me. You were sneaking around in me lobby or no, well his office and that where the safe was." And then she's like, "Oh well." Um, he's like, oh yeah, you're fired," and that's like, "Oh well, all right then." So she starts to leave, and then he sets like two Dober pincer hounds on her, and she starts running through these woods, but she gets like caught in that, and you don't see her get like mauled, but obviously she does. But it's a PG, so you ain't gonna see it too graphically. So like, you don't even hear a screamer out because like I think for a PG, maybe she started screaming. It was like, oh yeah, no, that's too graphic. So she don't even scream. You just see the dogs like pounce on her, and then it like cuts to Bond where he's gone to Venice because he's seen them blueprints that he got out the safe, and he was making like these little glass. They look like glasses, as in like what you'd pour orange juice in or some hexagon shaped glasses made in this glass mill where he's visiting, and he's allowed to look around because it's one of them where they let you look around and that shit, see how the glass is made. Well, anyway, whilst he's there, he sees Dr. Goodnight, who's there, sort of thing, like on she's doing a dress at some kind of fucking conference or something, and she's sort of like just checking out the view in Venice, sort of thing. But anyway, Bond's like, "Oh, all right, Doctor, good night," and that when he like sees her walking down, because she like leaves the factory and that, and then starts just walking. So Bond's like, "Oh yeah, all right," and that. Well, they're like sort of say, "Oh yeah, well, we'll see you around," sort of thing. And then Bond gets in this gondolier, which is just like a canoe, big canoe thing, and he's like going down slowly, and this other boat coming down this sort of channel, sort of thing, as like a coffin where a dude comes out and like throws a knife that kills the gondolier fucking dude who's sort of pushing it with a stick, and then throws a knife at Bond, but Bond sort of like ducks and it misses, and then Bond gets a knife and then throws it back at him that kills him, and then the boat, it's like a bridge where then the coffin goes into the sea and that, and then Bond fucking turns his gondolier into like a fucking speedboat and that, it burns off and that, where dudes in the speedboat are chasing him with machine guns and that, where he gets to like a ramp bit so he can go on to land, where that's where he fucking puts the hovercraft system, like inflatable fucking bottom thing comes out, and so it's like a hovercraft that can go on land now, and so it starts burning down Venice streets and that, and then like everyone's like looking, and like this pigeon takes like a double, I think it's a triple look where I've just seen, sort of thing, and that where they've like rewound it and that like twice. Because yeah, they just got a pigeon that looks left or right, depending on like they could have done whatever, and then we went and then he burns off, and then you see later on because he's escaped them dudes who was like trying to shoot at him on the speedboat, and he goes to like this sort of building where it's like in Venice, like some kind of like hall, like um, place where I think it's the factory where he'd been, but I think it's the upstairs private part of it where like he like sees like this scientist dude press like these buttons to get into a locked laboratory that does the do 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 Close Encounter of the Third Kind sort of thing, because like the proper going for like Superman, fucking Star Wars, Close Encounter of the Third Kind, the like proper putting all this shit in it and that. But anyway, he goes into the lab and that, and watching like these scientists put these vials of a chemical into these glass hexagon things and put them in this globe thing that like the building that later on in the film it's what they're sending to Earth to like kill humans and that. But at this stage you don't know. Well, anyway, Bond goes in whilst the scientists are like moving one of the globe things to a room where they're storing them because they filled them up with these vials and that. So they're moving them and that. And then when they come back, Bond puts like one of the vials because he's rushed and that, and he puts two of the vials on the side of one of these globe things, and then he like goes into a different room where he can see with a glass window and that the two scientist dudes come back, knock the vial over, and die, sort of thing. But there's rats there that survive and they're not dead, and so that like gives you a first clue that oh yeah, this stuff only kills humans. It don't kill animals and that. Well, as he's leaving and that, because he takes one of the vials, he runs into the henchmen who like fucking Drax's henchmen who's like in this fucking um, kendo stick fucking gear because he tries to beat the shit out of Bond with a kendo stick, which is just like a big wooden bamboo sort of. Well, there's about 10 or 12 bamboo sticks, I think, that are like put together. So it's called a kendo stick, and that. Well, anyway, tries to beat the shit out of Bond with a kendo stick, but fucking Bond like beats him up, sort of thing, and that. Pretty good fight scene, and that. Roger Moore, I think he did most of it because the fight scene's a bit corny. So yeah, probably was Roger Moore doing most of the fight scenes in it and that. Well, anyway, they get up to a top part where there's a clock tower face were made out of glass that like Bond like fucking throws the dude through after like a good 3 or 4 minute fight and that. Pretty good fight scene. Not the greatest of fight scenes, but better than that fight scene that was in Moon Knight with the bed that people was complaining about. But yeah. Anyway, the dude flies through into a piano because there's a band at the bottom playing stuff, music and that. And yeah, dead. But obviously they're not sure he's dead, but yeah, he'd be dead. And then Bond goes to this Goodnight's fucking, or Dr. Goodnight's fucking hotel room and that. And he fucking tries to shit her up by grabbing her hand and that, which he turns on a light. He starts talking to her and he's finding all of her like gadgets and that because he finds out like she's a CIA spy agent and that's pretending to be working for NASA and that to get into this Drax corporation and that. Well, anyway, Bond like says, "Oh yeah, we should work together and that." Because like he knows like something's going on and that because they're got like a deadly valve that he knows is fucking like deadly, and then like him and Dr. Goodnight have a shag and that. So that's his second shag. And like yeah, they're like talking and that. And Bond steals Dr. Goodnight's cyanide pen that's a pen, but sticks out a fucking needle and pours cyanide and that. And like she shouldn't notice it's standard CIA issue and that thing. So like but yeah, and then he like leaves and that gets his watch because yeah he put his watch on the table because and I and I know why later on you know why he's like put it on the table because it's got like explosives in it and so he probably oh yeah better be careful take the watch off anyway. Bond and the Minister of Defence go to this Venice place that like had the um, chemical fucking lab in and that. But when they get there, it's just Drax in the room and that because they've cleared it out, done a proper like clear out and that. So it just looks like a normal office room with a big desk and that. But anyway, like Drax is like, oh yeah, is this some kind of British sense of humour in that? Well, like, oh no, the Minister of Defence starts apologising, and then like Drax is well, like the leave and that, and then Drax is on the phone and he's like, oh yeah, I need a new henchman because Bond killed the henchman by throwing him through the clock glass face tower thing. Well, anyway, like, oh yeah, we've got Jaws for you. And he's like, oh, yeah, right. Well, yeah, that's good. And so you see Jaws walking through a fucking air terminal that, like, he has to duck down a little bit because the fucking scanning machine's a bit too fucking small. That's how big he fucking is. Well, anyway, the scanning machine goes off because he's got metal teeth, so he just smiles at like one of the airport security dudes and that, and the dude's like, "Oh shit!" So he gets all right. Well, then you see because they've gone to Rio now. The less Venice, and I think yeah they go to Rio because Drax has got like a fucking like air base there sort of thing. And Bond sort of like in a hotel room and that, and then there's a bed who's like doing vodka martinis for him, who's his sort of like contacting Rio, and he's like talking to her and that, and then like they're sitting on the couch. He's like, "Oh, what can we do to kill 5 hours?" And he starts to like take her like ribbon tarred belt thing she has, and that's when he gets his third shag. That's why it's a three shagger. Well, anyway, they're in Rio and there's like a carnival going on and that, and Bond's like, "Oh yeah, just wait there. I need to go check this warehouse out and that." But it's empty and that. All he sees is like Drax's sort of like badge thing that that they sew onto the suits and that. Well, Jaws is dressed as like a big sort of clown thing with one of them big head things that they have in Rio. Well, he gets the contact bed, the Rio contact bed, and he's gonna bite a neck, but Bond sees and like jumps down and like hits him in the back of the head, sort of thing. And then they're gonna have a fight, but these people crowd like gets in between them, and then you start because Jaws is dressed up like he's sort of in cannibal mode. They start to like grab him in that and like fucking sort of joke on him in with the party and that. So he has to like join in to make it seem like, oh yeah, he is part of the carnival. Well, anyway, Bond and the contract bird from Rio like leave and that. But yeah, um, yeah, Bond and that then just like walk off with that sort of thing, and he goes up onto this well, it's at the top of a cable car, so it's got like oh, what do you call them? Telescopes. Got like them telescopes up there, so you can look around. Well, anyway, he has a look at this airport that Drax owns, and that, and he sees like Drax air flights and that are leaving, and then he sees Doctor Goodnight there. I mean, Doctor Goodnight, Doctor Goodhead there and that, and then he's like talking to her, and he's like, "Oh yeah, uh, nice to see you again." And she's like, "Oh well, you left quick in that." And he's like, "Oh yeah, well you was packed. You had your bags packed and that because we were both like on the case and that." So the one got too bothered and that. Well, anyway, Bond's all like, "Well, we should work together and that." So she's like, "Well, yeah," because he's like, "Oh yeah, I checked out his warehouse, but it was empty and that." And she's like, "Oh well, I've been watching these flights been leaving every 10 minutes or whatever, or something like that." Well, anyway, then they get the cable car down, and then you see Jaws that like enters the cable car like control room at the bottom, stops the wheel and that. 'Cause that's how fucking strong he is, as fucking tall as a cable car wheel and that shit when you see it in that. So he just grabs the wheel and stops the motor by fucking overrunning it or whatever. So the cable car stops, and then he fucking bites the wire to definitely separate the cable and that. So it's not going to move. Then he gets his mate, because then Joe jumps on a cable car and gets his mate to send it up at that to meet Bond and Goodnight, because his henchman mate knocked out the control room because the control room guard fucking was probably trying to restart it or whatever. I was going to call security. Well, anyway, George gets on top of this cable car, and the dude sends it up so they meet each other, sort of thing. And then Jaws and Bond have a fight where Bond isn't really fighting; he's just running around this cable car. And there's a bit of caught a bit where, but Jaws jumps from cable car to the cable car. But anyway, he slaps Doctor Goodhead and that, because she tries to like help Bond. But anyway, then Bond like boots him in the head because he climbs up onto the cable scaffolding a bit, and then Jaws falls into the cable car. But then then they'll lock him in, but Jaws starts just punching the top out and that shit. So the control dude, he sends the cable car down real fast with Jaws in it, and then Bond sliding down the cable car wire on this chain, and just before the cable car is going to hit Bond and that, they jump and that because they got closer to the bottom that they could safely jump. And then fucking Jaws crashes into the bottom because the cable car is going too fast. And this is where the fucking bit where Joe smashes into to the bottom bit and that, but he's still alive. But he's got a big wheel over him and that, and then fucking sees that thingy bird. What was she called? Blinch, Rabalek, who helps him move the big wheel off him because the cable clog wheel that he's having trouble pushing it off and that. But and then they like fall in love. You had sort of music, and then Bond and Dr. Goodhead are like having a bit of a snog where these dudes, paramedics with stretcher fucking cat carriers come out and that, but Bond's like, oh no, we're all right. But from the handle of the stretcher carrier, like he's like a fucking cosh that they knock Bond out and they tie Bond and Dr. Goodhead to like these stretcher beds and that, and then put them in the ambulance where they're going to take them to Drax and that. Well, Bond, he like fucking gets Goodnight to like distract one of the paramedic guards that's in the back of the ambulance with him in that. And he fucking like frees himself by by moving the handle bit that he can. It's a bit corny because you wouldn't tie someone where they could like easily. But if he kept his eye on him, they would have seen him trying to loosen himself. But anyway, he gets both hands free, jumps up and that, cuts himself free with a scalpel and that, but starts like having a fight with the paramedic guard and that, where fucking like bit of pretty good fight scene and that. Dr. Goodhead like, grabs the dude's head by the hair and Bond punches him and she has a handful of hair and that, and then they have a bit of a tussle where they end up on a like stretcher bed with wheels, and it goes out the back of the ambulance where they're going down this sort of fucking road that's got a downhill decline on it. That like the dude is on the fucking stretcher bed. That he goes flying down the road, and Bond like jumps off and that rolls and that, and then you see the dude who's like smashed into a big poster of this British Airways flight attendant bed steward who was smiling that he's gone right through her sort of like mouth and that. Looks like she's smoking a cigar or something. And then you see Bond walk off and that, and then he gets on like a horse and that, dressed up as Clint Eastwood a bit, the proper gone for the fucking fistful of dollars sort of look, where he rides into like this looks like a big villa sort of place, like training sort of place where it's a typical sort of big courtyard and that, where you see Q there and Miss Moneypenny's there and that, Bond's talking to him, and then like you see like then three balls and that you throw. I forget what they're called, but anyway, they're explosive. You see a dude throw them and blow up a fucking dude and that. Then you see fucking what looks like a dude in a poncho sat down, but fucking it's a machine gun and that. Then you see a laser gun and that getting tested. And then Bond goes into M, starts talking to him and that. Like that. Q tells Bond, "Oh yeah, that vial of whatever you get given us, it's very toxic, but it don't kill plants or fucking animals." And then they're like, got the DNA sort of biological structure down, and they found out like it's got an orchid that's only found in, like, I think it's somewhere in Brazil. I think, I don't know, or India, maybe, I don't know, some jungly place. Even though India isn't all that jungly, but um, so Bond's like, all right, well, there must be something going on there. So like, right, and then Q's like, oh yeah, got a boat for you, and so see Bond in this like speedboat, and like fucking, he's gonna check out where fucking this orchid is grown, but you see these henchmen with like fucking oh, mortars. Got like mortars, fucking launchers on the boat that start firing at fucking Bond and that boat. Obviously, they're not hitting, but they're in at the side. And that, well, anyway, Bond burns off, and then he starts laying landmines down because this fucking boat's like fucking got some good gadgets on it and that. Well, one of the boats fucking hits because he's dropping quite a few on that, and one of the boats hits the landmine and that just explodes and that fucking. But like, there's still two more after him, and then Jaws is in one of them with a fucking Uzi shooting the fuck. But yeah, those are landmines going again. I mean, mortar mines going again, getting fired and that, and then fucking Bond just burning like fuck out of there. And then he fires like a torpedo from the back that's like a heat-seeking one that fucking blows up another sort of bad guy and that. And then Bond is sort of like coming up to this waterfall where Jaws and the Henchmen are like following him and that. And Bond is still heading to the waterfall and that. And you're thinking, oh yeah, what's happened? And then Bond presses a button, and a fucking angle adder sort of thing comes, so gets like transformed from the roof of the speedboat and that, and then Bond gets in this angle adder and just like angle adders off the edge, and then Jaws tries to like tear the speedboat, but he fucking rips the control wheel from it, and that they go off the edge where Jaws would have done, but no, because like later on you see him, because then like Bond um, sort of like lands in this sort of like foresty jungle bit where there's a like cave with a fucking layer base in it, as a like secret layer base that fucking Drax has built and that, but it just looked like a shitty fucking ruins where in the film they would have just filmed some like ancient fucking ruins or whatever and then just done the studio. Well, anyway, Bond sees what one of these Drax's like people was one of the birds who's gonna be like getting transported to repopulate the airport. They don't really know. They just think the fucking going to space. I think, and that. I think. Oh, they have got no. Actually, They do know, yeah. I think they do know like what they're doing and that. So yeah, the lower Bond anyway into a sort of pool bit where they want him to cross a bridge, but he doesn't and that. But he goes on like this rock bit that um, like flicks him into to the water where he fights a big sort of like anaconda snake, but it's plastic and that. But Roger Moore does some good acting where he's like fighting with it and that. That like when you fucking no, yeah, well, they won't get Roger. Well, they want like a big anaconda anaconda snake. Fucking let loose on Roger Moore, yeah. But anyway, he, like stabs it with the pen that's got cyanide in that he took off Doctor Goodhead. But anyway, as he's going to get out of the fucking pool and that, he sees Jaws that like fucking survived that waterfall crash and that he'd made it back to this base and that. And then fucking drags fucking Bond out like a child. Roger Moore was like 6'2". He just fucking picks him up like now. And then fucking Roger Moore tries punch him in the stomach, but that don't do fuck all. And then see Drax with some henchmen come out. And if you play GoldenEye and that, and the space thing where the proper, I've like just took the level off this sort of fucking room where it's got like loads of computers and loads of screens everywhere because it's in the like late 70s and that fucking the computers are like fucking fairly small but still not that small that you need about 5 or 6 because it's a space station and that. So there's like quite a few fucking big computer sort of be like fucking the motherboard or whatever. But anyway, Bond's like talking to Drax and Drax has got like the orchid in like a globe, or like a clear globe thing, or more like a fish tank than a globe. Or could I say more like a hamster ball? Because them globe things that they're putting it in, they're made the old vials and that, where this is just holding the plant thing itself. But anyway, you see like these Moonraker fucking rockets getting launched and that, and like oh yeah, Bone saying yeah, GoldenEye is one of my favorite games. Yeah, Bone man, yeah, you're saying yeah. Well, you remember that level where you fucking like fight Jaws on where you go in that like space base where they're all dressed in yellow, and there's that bit where you can shoot 3 of them at once if you line it up right. Well, that's on that level. Aztec, I think it's called, even though because like they use part of the Spy Who Loved Me Aztec sort of ruins bit with the Moonraker sort of base, so they like merge it in and that. But that level where it's like in the space station sort of thing. Well, anyway, yeah, it fucking just totally ripped it from. Well, I say they ripped it from, but they had the rights to because it was a Bond game and that, and it was having extra levels that you had that they did all the fucking GoldenEye levels, and then there was them extra ones. Well, anyway, because there's that room where you get put into where Bond gets because Drax tells Jaws to Bond where he can get warm, where it's a room with a table and chairs, but the table and chairs start collapsing, and it's a fucking bottom bit of a fucking rocket launch pad where fucking Drax is at the top saying to Bond, "Oh yeah, you're gonna get fucking blasted and that sort of thing." It's nice knowing you, Mr. Bond, and that. Well, um, to like hangar doors and that start opening, so the rocket's getting like fired up and that. Well, Bond sees like this air vent thing where I say with the watch with explosives, it like opens it up and it's got like a reel of like plastic explosives in that he's got a detonator from the fucking bit like a grot watch where fucking so he puts it on a bar and on one of sticks it onto one of the vent bars like because it's right a big vent and that and just blows them apart and that like fucking can like escape which the time limit, I think that it's still got fried, but for fucking Hollywood fucking dramatic purposes, they just make it out in time where the flames are like chasing them and that sort of thing. But they get out anyway into like the fucking sort of base where the fucking got all these fucking crew and that where fucking Bond and Doctor Goodnight like beat the shit out of well Bond I think just punches like one of the dudes and that and like the pilots or are going to be flying the Moonraker and that so yeah they get like dressed up as the pilots and that and fucking like get onto the Moonraker ship and that to like fucking get up into space to see where these Moonraker rockets are going. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Cause Bond like punches one of the fucking pilots, and Doctor Goodhead beats a shout of one with a oil um, petrol can thing that's like handheld oil can. Where yeah, they get in the Moonraker ship and then they blast off into space and that, and then they see like, oh yeah, there's like Drax's ship and that, and there's the other ships there. They going somewhere, but they don't know where. And then like they have a look in the back and that, and see the cargo, and it's like two um well there's about 10 or 15 or 14 because it's like two at each well there's like yeah two at each side sort of thing so he sees like oh yeah there's like two like couples and 10 of couple but anyway like oh yeah this is like the arc and then they realize that Drax's plan is to fucking repopulate the earth with all these good looking people and that. Even though once I start reading fucking Wonder Woman comics and doing Lego Star Wars builds, they turn into right little fucking soy-head bitches. So that the planning that great, well seen through. But Drax believes that if he can get rid of the Earth population and then repopulate it with his bunch of real good-looking specimens of people and that. Well, get onto. Oh no, they don't get onto the space station, but they see the space station that's not on radar, and that because there's a radar tracking decloaking system that they've got that don't, so they don't show up on radar. And so like they get on it and that, and then like Bond and Doctor Goodnight are like, oh yeah, fucking, we had a look around and that sort of thing, but because Bond's looking for the control room where they can destroy the computer, or they don't have to destroy it. All they got to do is just switch the tracking, well, the non-tracking system that they've got. That's so they don't show up on radar. Well, anyway, here's where Mrs. Dr. Goodnight comes in, like kicks ass. This is a bit where fucking a bit corny and that, but do all right. Well, she like sucker punches a dude, and then the dude tries to grab her, but then she like throws him over that he's fucked up. But yeah, and then she like punches another dude that rushes to her. That the dude like falls back and that, and then Bond like finishes him off with a punch. And so fucking like it was one of them where yeah, let's show some female action in it. Well, wasn't done too bad. Like, oh yeah, it was put in there to show yeah, females can kick ass and that. Which, as I say, been doing it, but Bond's been kicking ass a lot in this film. So yeah, we'll let her have a moment, sort of thing. Well, the fucking disconnect or disable the fucking cloaking system and that, and so America and Russia like see fucking there's some space station up in space and that their tracking systems are registering now, and that well the Russian fucking and like he's sort of like the head of the KGB tells the head of like fucking NASA, CIA, FBI or whatever, fucking that they've got like 12 hours to sort it out, or else they'll go up and sort it out and blame America. Well, anyway, Bond and Dr. Goodhead, they're fucking sort of like just walking around the space station and that, and they see these globe get released. I've got the orchid fucking ball in it because like they've got 50 of them that they're gonna send to the Earth, and that's gonna like depopulate the Earth fully from humans. Well, anyway, as I see that, Jaws is behind them, but they don't see him. But then they see him, and then Bond tries punching Jaws in the mouth, but that's no good because he hits his own hand and that, and then he just gets like carted off and that, like a child, as I say. Richard Kell, he's so big, he makes everyone around him, even 6 foot tall people, look like children and that. Well, anyway, he like fucking takes them to Drax, and then Drax is talking about fucking. Well, no, Bond then like tells Drax, "Oh yeah, you're doing a fucking repopulation in that, and you're only going to do it with good people. Anyone that isn't good looking or in up to the standard of beauty and that, you're not gonna have much use for in that. And they're like, yeah. And then Jaws realizes like, yeah, he's gonna be fucking killed because they have no use for him on planet Earth, or he's never ever going to be able to visit planet Earth. If they don't kill him, he's going to have to stay up in space for the rest of his life with his bird. Anyway, you see, like the American shuttle are sent up like a fucking Moonraker. That like Drax has got like a laser fucking beam fucking gun that he's got on his space station, and that he's like, oh yeah, just shoot the fucking space shuttle down, the Moonraker space shuttle. Well, anyway, as they're like lining it up, Bond fucking sees like an emergency switch off for the gravity because they've got gravity on the space station because it's spinning around. But anyway, Jaws now is on Bond's side because he tries to help him because Jaws knows like he ain't going to be fucking. So now Bond, Jaws, and Dr. Goodnight are like under arrest and that. Well, Bond sees like the fucking emergency fucking control for the gravity. Well, he jumps like switches it off so the G-force gravity pull gets fucked up, and so they can't shoot the dude because everyone's like floating around and that. They can't shoot at the American Moonraker because they're all like floating around and that. And there's a bit where there's clearly a bit where they're on strings and they're doing that sort of like moonwalking where they're doing it real slow and that shit where they shouldn't be because they're not in a space, so you should be like floating around, but they couldn't get like in them days anti-gravity fucking sort of like rooms where they can do sort of stuff like that where they just put it in the back of a fucking jumbo jet or something. Fucking. But anyway, here's where it all kicks off though, because then the Americans let out their fucking space sort of fucking jetpack soldiers with laser beams and that have like a fucking real good space battle with lasers and fucking like jetpacks and that, and like fucking half the Americans get killed and that, or they're killing the shit out of these fucking Drax dudes, where the space shuttle docks and that, but then the gravity gets put back on because the dude gets himself to switch the gravity back on. But by this time, Bond and Jaws and Dr. Goodhead have like escaped, and then like they see like the third globe with valves in that. Then there's a bit of a fight in that where Jaws just picks up a dude and throws him in that. And then like they get to where they let in the American and that, and then so the Americans are like shooting the shit out of them, and Jaws is beating the shit out of them, and fucking Dr. Goodnight is there and Bond and there and that kicking ass and everything and that fucking real good fucking like they're doing the Bond films where they get a good fucking like a war fucking situation going on, like a little war battle. Fucking loads of dudes and that. Well, anyway, Bond sees fucking Drax run into like a portal thing that like he gets to that, but Bond catches up to him, and so he starts walking like back looking at Bond, and then he gets to where he's got a gun because there's a dead fucking Drax guard there that he picks the gun up, and then he's gonna shoot Bond. He's like, "Oh yeah, well at least I get the pleasure of shooting you." But then Bond like goes to lift his hand up, but then he's got that dart gun that's on his wrist that he fires into Drax's heart, and like, and Bond like does a witty where he's like, "Oh, heartbreaking," and that, and then Drax, because it's like a poison dart, like, and killed him instantly. It takes like 30 seconds or something. So, like, he's going back into the airlock. That, like, then Bond, like, fucking releases him into space and that. And then Dr. Goodnight catches up to Bond and he's like, oh where's Drax? And Bond's all like, oh, yeah, he should have said, oh, he's floating around or something. But he's, oh, yeah, he had to leave or something like that. I forget, but anyway, the space station now is getting shot to shit and it's blowing up and that because everyone's shooting the shit out of it inside of it. So it's getting and it was pretty damaged, probably a little bit on the outside before they got in there and started shooting the shit out of it. Well, anyway, like the Americans kill all the fucking Drax soldiers and that, and so they leave and that, and then fucking Bond sees like a Moonraker shuttle that's like on the side of the space station, and that like they get in and that, but the fucking release lock gets damaged and that, and so fucking they can't like leave the space station. So anyway, Jaws is you see Jaws looking around for his missus and that, and you see his missus and that, and he's like, oh yeah, buzzing and that, and then fucking they have a hug and that, and get some champagne and that, where Jaws, Richard Keel, mutters his, or like says his first lines and that, so like, here's to you, or here's to us, or something, yeah, and fucking, then like sees like Bond and that, and then Bond like goes through the two-way communication system, tells him, oh yeah, the fucking really mechanism release lock systems jammed. And so George goes in there and just like rips this like metal pole out, and that releases the fucking Moonraker shuttle, and then the space station pretty much blows into pieces. But the bit that Jaws and his bed's in is sort of like don't blow up, but it goes off into space and that shit. I think it's like a fucking re-entry system built fucking escape portal act itself, big un. But anyway, Bond and Dr. Goodhead are like tracking down the fucking globe valves because 3 of them got released, and they put the automatic aiming tracking system on the laser beam and that, and they take down the first one, no problem. But then they start skipping the Earth's atmosphere in that because they're re-entering too fast and that because they're chasing these globes. And but they take down the second one, all right. So. But when they get to the third one, though, the fucking shuttle's burning up through the re-entering the Earth's atmosphere and that. That the fucking automatic auto aim fucks up and malfunctions, that Bond then has to go on manual aim, and then fucking first shot he misses and that, and then fucking he's got like his second shot, but he has to make it because the um, globe is entering the fucking Earth's atmosphere at this stage, which probably would take out that many people. But Bond, not as many as fucking Fauci did. But anyway, Bond destroys the fucking last missile with his second aim. That like dead targeting and that fucking sort of stuff. And then they're all like in NASA, like, oh yeah, it's the third one's been destroyed and that. And then you see Bond and Dr. Goodnight like shagging in this bed and that. And then head of NASA like, oh, all right, great. We've got Bond and Dr. Goodnight. We can patch you in and that. We'll have communications. Well, anyway, so we'll patch it through to the White House and Parliament and fucking Buckingham Palace and that. Well, see Bond and Dr. Goodnight like floating. There's a cover covering up vital parts and that. But you see him shagging and that, and then like and like, oh, Bond, shit, sort of thing. And then the Ministry of Defence is saying, what is he doing? What's Bond doing? And that. And then because Q's not looking at the screen, he's looking at the tracking system. He's like, I think he's trying to re-enter and that. And so yeah, a bit of a pun there and that. And then he goes off into fucking Moonraker, but a funky version of Moonraker, which is good. And that, I think it was sung by Shirley Bassey, because I think she's the only one that's done 2 Bond songs. I think it was Goldfinger and Moonraker. But yeah. And then at the end, it says, oh yeah, Bond will return in For Your Eyes Only. It also said that on the Spy Who Loved Me. Yeah, but great film, great film. Bit corny in that, because as I say, they started going down the comedy sort of fucking route sort of thing, where I think there was like appealing to the more family orientated sort of film, because Bond films have always been like PGs and that, but they've been quite fucking violent and that. But back in them days, as long as you didn't show blood, I think you could get away with quite violent stuff. But then when it got to like the 80s, started getting all fucking. Oh no, but he don't have a car. He has a speedboat that like he's got like mines like what they call the fucking that the floating mine bomb things that I forget the exact word. Yeah, they're like floating man bombs that fucking get dropped and that, and like they blow up a fucking ship. And then he's got like a torpedo, fucking little torpedo, fucking launcher thing that fucking shoots a torpedo. That's like a fucking heat seeker for some reason, but he's fucking. And then it has like a hang glider built into the roof that like he fucking pops open the fucking roof that when it comes up to a fucking Waterfall. That's fucking really got a big fucking drop. You know, one of them like fucking don't know 1,000, 2,000 foot drops or whatever. Fucking, you just hang glides off. But yeah, it's in fact I'll show you. I'll have to look it up. Speedboat. Oh fuck. What's that about? Uh, yeah. There we go. Yeah, be like on Spy Hunter. You know when like you get to a part where you have to like go into like a speedboat. That's where I think the because they definitely took the car for Spy Hunter, but yeah, I think they took the boat bit and all. Like yeah, this is that's like the boat. As you can see on the top bit there, that's where the hang glider is. It just fucking flicks out like because it's one of them where you you can't tell that there's an hang glider there until it gets deployed, and then it's like, oh, oh there's an hang glider. See, see the where he's deploying the hang glider. There we go. Yeah. Now I don't know if they just fucking use one with a roof and that, and then just fucking got like a dude with hang glider to go on one without a roof. But yeah, when you see it though, they do it good where it does look like, oh yeah, he's proper just popped a fucking hang glider out of the fucking roof. Probably done with a bit of special effects and that, as in like, yeah, they might have used two different things, but in the film though, because yeah, it looks too metally, I think, on that one. So maybe yeah, it is a bit of like special effects where instead of building one with a hang glider in there, they just made it look like there was an hang glider. But they do it good though. When you see it done and that, you know, like they cut it real good. That yeah, it does look like yeah, he just popped an hang glider out of the roof. Yeah, yeah, there's a little bit of it. Oh yeah, YouTube. Yeah, that's what like. Fuck that. Yeah, I won't risk showing it and that because, like, yeah, you have to watch it born. It's a great film, great film. One of them films where corny bits in it and that, but it is a Roger Moore film, and so with the Roger Moore Bond, there was corny like fucking because in Octopussy there's a bit where fucking he tells the target to sit. It's like fuck. It goes really sort of like outrageous, but if you watch it, man, fucking some great fucking scenes in it though, some great action bits because like it done in the 80s and that, so most of the well, I was saying even the fucking new Bond film that got done, well, about a year. Well, it got started filming about a year or two ago. What it sort of thing. Even they're using still proper stunts, but like they're using CGI a bit to cover up bits of the stunts and that. But they're still using like those doing proper stunts, so it gets that sort of like fucking more realism feel. But yeah, great film though, great film. Yeah. Well, I'll end it here, sort of thing. Yeah, I'd say Bond films, they're all great. Even the last one, well, it was good. Well, it was great until the ending, anyway. Uh, uh, let's put it that way, sort of thing. As in, some great stunts and that, some great sort of Bond moments and that bit. But obviously, they had to have, luckily enough, I think the fucking knew like they had to do a good Bond film, or they were going to get ranked to fuck. I think they did some reshoots and that. Yeah, yeah. Bond says later than that. Yeah, but yeah, cheers for popping, watching Bond and that. Yeah, watch all the way through and that. Well, listening all the way through. Yeah, save a watch Moonraker, man. It's fucking great film. Like, and, cheers to Nelson the gentleman. You know, yeah, pop in that. And cheers to Parrothead, you know, for popping in and watching. Cheers, man. Yeah. So yeah, next week, um, for your eyes only. Uh, yeah. Uh, and if you want to like watch a film though that is like really spoofed up to fuck, watch For Your Height Only, where fucking it's like this midget who's like a secret agent, and that is like really spoofed up. But yeah, yeah, but looks like a man like two two glasses sort of chinking together. But yeah, cheers, both. So yeah, thanks for watching. Cheers, bye.